Well, family, before we jump into today's show, I wanted to let you know again, there's some things that are changing from in on the show. We are actually going to be hitting by the end of this week it actually be 251. I wanted to stop at 250, meaning stopping of being able to add the video visuals to it, but we're actually going to stop at 251. It just makes sense. And that'll be the end of season 1. But I have something really, a really good treat for you. So for today and tomorrow, I'm about to produce an hour-long content for you. Some of my favorite videos, and which were basically the audio that I really enjoy listening to. And you're about to get this work. So sit back. If you're driving, of course, pay attention to the road, but this is going to be some good work, and I hope, family, that you're able to get something out of it. With no further ado, let's jump into the content. This is going to be amazing. I'm so excited about what we're about to bring here. All right, let's go.
You're here right now at this moment because tomorrow you want to be somebody greater than the person you are today. You see yourself succeeding, you have a vision, you have a dream. Congratulations. You're already 10 steps ahead of 95% of the world. Imagine if Michael Jordan was scared of missing. He would have never taken a shot. Imagine if Steve Jobs was afraid of people not liking his product. There would be no iPhone. So ask yourself this: do you want to be a person who fears failure, or do you want to be a person who loves success? Which one? Because you're going to have to pick today. And I'll tell you one thing: one is a failure and one is a success. And if you love success, there is nothing that can stop you. All those negative things people say will mean nothing. They're gonna talk about how only 1% make it to the top. Big deal. Wanna know something else? Only 1% stick with that fitness program long enough to see results. Only 1% of nerds stick with that video game long enough to get good at it. Only 1% of relationships stick it out to the end. That doesn't mean you have a 1% chance. It just means you can't behave like the 99%. You'll have to do something better than giving up a month from now. Those are just numbers. You want to talk about numbers? Take a look around you, and take a good look around you. Are you like 99% of the people around you? If you are, then you're in the wrong video, my friend. You have to love success just as much, because that's what's gonna allow you to get up and go for it. Being scared to fail won't do anything. In fact, when you love success and you start going for it, guess what happens? You're gonna fail. You're gonna fail 10 times, 100 times, maybe even 1,000 times. But that's okay. Failure isn't permanent. Falling isn't permanent. You get right back up and keep going. And this time, you're gonna be stronger, wiser, and you'll be more driven than ever. And for every 10 failures, you'll land 1 success. You have to love success so much that you're willing to fail 10 times before you can succeed once. That's how a winner does it.
First half, I'm not gonna lie. They had us. We weren't defeated, but they had us. But it took guts, it took an attitude. That's all it takes. That's all it takes to be successful, is an attitude. And that's what our coach told us. He said, hey, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna go out there, you're gonna battle, you're gonna fight, you're gonna do it for one, you're gonna do it for one another. Do it for each other, you're gonna do it for yourself, you're gonna do it for us, and you're gonna go out with this win. And we believe that, we truly did. And it's an awesome feeling. It's an awesome feeling when you truly believe that you're going to be successful. Regardless of the situation, regardless of the scoreboard, you're going to be successful because you put in all the time.
as that shot can't land it. So it is going to be that retake scenario. Crims has the kit.
Running close towards CT. Zivnik spots 3 of them out, but it's Olaf again to find Device. And Olaf coming in with 4. He wants the ace, and he gets it. There we go. What a superstar performance from that man.
I was walking down the street, and I saw an old man. Had a hat, suspenders, and a cane. Was about 80 years old. This old man was barely walking. He could walk, but the cane helped a lot. He was struggling. So anyway, he was walking across the street and he ended up falling. So I went over to go help him. And he gets up, says thank you, and we introduced ourselves. Had a little conversation. Told me his name and I told him mine. His name was Robert, by the way. And right as he walked away, I told him, this is what I said. Robert, you should stay inside where it's safe, my friend. And Robert turns around and says to me, I love walking, and I love walking way more than I'm afraid of falling. So I ask him, well, what about your safety? Don't you want to live? And he told me this. These are the exact words he said. He said this: Solo, living means doing what you love to do. And if I had to fall here and there to do what I want to do in life, then so be it. And he just walked away. Never saw him again. That was it. But that statement really had me thinking, and it had me thinking hard, because I learned something that day. That's when I realized the true key to success. You see, I always thought if I could just fear the act of failing, and if I fear it like crazy, I will succeed. Because I thought the fear would magically motivate me to get out there and start taking action. But after that day, I realized something. I realized it's the love for success that will lead me to succeeding. So just imagine if Robert feared falling. Would he even start walking? Of course not. He wouldn't even do what he loved to do. He would sit at home and take no type of action. But he loved walking. Wasn't even scared to fall. It gave him life. That's what allowed him to get up and do it. He loved walking so much, he was willing to fall 10 times a day just to do it. And you have to be the same. So the next time someone tells you, you're gonna fail, you know what you tell them? Tell them they're right. But you're not afraid to fail. You're not afraid to take action. You're not afraid to jump. You're gonna fail 10 times, but you know what? It's cool. Because on the 11th time, you'll succeed. Oh, you'll succeed, all right. And it'll feel good. And while you're over here living the life of your dreams and complete happiness, guess where they're gonna be? That's right. They'll be failures, the real failures, over there where it's safe, scared to fail. Ironic, isn't it?
Everybody experiences extreme stress at some point in their life. I don't care who we are. Something happens outside our control and it hits our life and it knocks us on our tail. It might be a health stress. It could be something with your family. It could be economic, career. It could be something emotional that happens, biochemical. There's so many things. It could be an environmental situation that had nothing to do with you. Every one of us in our lifetime are experiencing extreme stress. And these days, because of the economy and the way we respond to it, the majority of people are experiencing some form of extreme stress, at least according to polls. Stress doesn't come from the facts. Stress comes from the meaning that we give the facts. Yes, those things have happened, but the real question is, if we fight what's happened, we got a problem. We got to decide, what are we going to do with what's happened in our life? How are we going to take this? How are we going to mold this? How are we going to turn our life around? Because when you come up with a new meaning, you get a new life. So what are we going to do in this session? Well, in this session, we're going to take a look at something from a different perspective. We're going to ask you this question. What is the single force that controls the quality of your life? If there was one gift our Creator has given us, or the universe, whatever you believe, what is it? What is the one power that you have right now in this moment that can change everything? You have it, I have it, we all have it. It's this one singular individual power that can change anything in our life, regardless of what's happened to us. And I know you know the answer. The answer is the power of choice. The one thing we have in this world is we can't control the events, but we can choose what to focus on, we can choose what things mean, and we can choose what to do. Those three choices, those three decisions really control our life. It's not so much the conditions of our life that control our destiny as much as the decisions of our life. Try for a second to think about something. Think about your life. And just think about, are there a few decisions? If I were to ask you 2 decisions you've made in your life, you know, that if you would have made a different decision, you would have had a totally different life. I mean, it may be a life may have been better or may have been worse, I don't know, but you would have a different life. I'm not asking you to buy into the fact that you should have known the answers. I just want you to see the power of a decision. How is your life better today because of a decision you made years ago, not just negative ones? Think about it. Sometimes a little decision changes your whole life. Like you decide one day to go to a certain school, and you go to that school, or to go eat someplace, and you bump into the person that becomes the love of your life. Or you meet someone, and you decide as a result of that you're going to become a photographer or a software engineer or a business person or a doctor, a dentist, whatever. They impacted you, but you made the decision, that's what I really want. That's what my life's going to be about. And that decision has affected so much of your life, what you do, how you live your life, how you spend your time, what you earn or don't earn, you know, who you attract into your life. Beliefs you have all come from some of these little decisions. What you decide to eat from your dinner plate each night certainly determines your physical destiny, right? We all know that, at least to a certain extent. I know there's a certain amount that's genetics, but I'm talking about the stuff you and I can control. So decisions equal destiny. It's not our conditions, it's our decisions. So if we want a new life, if we want a new experience, we gotta make new choices. If you don't like the way your career is or your business is, change it. If you don't like your body, change it. You don't like your relationship, change you first, because if you change it, you'll bring you to the next one. Maybe it's time to change it too, but change yourself first. If you want to change anything in your life, you have the choice. So there is no right or wrong. I just want to make you aware in this breakthrough session that everything in our life changes the moment we make a decision. And I mean a real decision. A decision is when you cut off any other possibility and you commit to something with everything you've got and you take action. But the big decisions start with little decisions like, what am I going to focus on? Because whatever you focus on, you're going to feel. If you focus on all the things that have been done to you in your life, of course you're going to feel like hell. If you focus on all the amazing coincidences that have happened, things that maybe they were guided, maybe not, but things happen, and because of that, you met this person that's your best friend, your husband, your wife, or because of that, you have this ability, or because you were there that day, God, you missed an accident. I don't know what it is, but whatever you focus on, you're gonna feel. If you focus on people don't care, and you'll look for reasons why they don't care, and evidence they don't care, you'll find it everywhere. If you look for evidence that people are really good people inside, that at some level we all care about each other, you'll find it. Seek and you shall find. The secret is, have you become conscious about your decision making? Because this breakthrough session is, really, you want to change your life, make new choices. New life comes from new choices, but you got to make conscious choices. The people in this particular television special, Melissa and her husband, they really found themselves in a place where they were both making decisions, Melissa and Rick, that were unconscious. When you make decisions about what to focus on and what things mean and what to do, and you're unconscious, you get pretty terrible results usually. Now, we've all done this. I do it still. We all do. But if you want to change your results, you got to become more conscious in your decision making. So think about it. What you focus on, you will feel. Whether it's true or not. You focus on how people don't care, you're going to feel they don't care. Second decision you make is what do things mean. So you focus on something someone does and you come up with a meaning, and the meaning is, no one loves me. The meaning is they're trying to take advantage of me. Depending on what meaning you come up with, and you get to choose the meaning of anything. For some people, they say, this situation happened with the economy, and what that means is, I'm going broke. Somebody else said, the situation happened with the economy, guess what? That means I'm gonna work harder, I'm gonna be more creative, it changed everything. Everybody else is gonna quit, so we're gonna dominate the marketplace. For people to do it. Is this the end right now, or is it the beginning? See, whether it's the end or beginning is your choice, you get to decide, because once you make up a meaning, it's true. If you think that this is the end of a relationship, are you going to treat people the same way as if you think it's the beginning of a relationship? No way. In fact, I tell people, if you want to have a great relationship, think about this. Treat people like you did in the beginning of the relationship, and there won't be an end. In the beginning of the relationship, when somebody says to you, would you take out the trash? What do you say? Of course, take out the trash. You're happy to do anything, right? But after about 6 months or 6 years, you go take them out the trash. You go, what do you mean? What, I look like your janitor? Take out your own trash. The meaning we give things is very different, and so we feel different, and our life is different. In the beginning, you'll do anything for someone. Now you make up a new meaning. Why should I have to do that for them? Little choices, like what to believe about yourself, what to believe about other people, whether this is the end or the beginning, start to affect your whole life. And the third decision we make, we decide what to focus on, most of us unconsciously. We decide what things mean, and the third thing we decide is what are we going to do? We decide to quit because it's overwhelming. We decide to get strong and focus. We decide we're going to turn it around. We decide to wait and see. Ultimately, your destiny is determined by what you do. So, for example, what do you do if somebody comes to you one day and says you have a tumor? Again, I've had that experience. I use that as a reference point because I've had a lot of intense experiences in my life, but that was one of the more intense ones for sure. Had many, but that was very intense. You know, first, what do you focus on? Do you focus on it's over? Do you focus on why me? Do you give it a meaning that says I'm going to die? What do you do? Do you just go through traditional therapeutic approach? Do you put yourself in the hands of someone else? Do you evaluate this? Do you get a second or third opinion? Your destiny is determined by your decisions. Now, if you're a guy like Lance Armstrong, you focus immediately on, I gotta find a solution. The meaning you come up with is, this is the ultimate battle. And what you decide to do is you're gonna exhaust every possibility. Now, that doesn't guarantee you're gonna succeed, but it's interesting. When you have that kind of a mindset, it shifts you. And Lance Armstrong, I mean, he was told things like, look, you got tumors here in your brain, you got them in your lungs, right? You got, obviously, in the testicles, and you ride a bike for a living. That's pretty tough. But he made it through all of those pieces. Now, am I saying because he made the right choices? I can't tell you that. There's certainly some grace in everything. I think in life, there's three things. There's our ability to choose what we're focused on, or to commit, to get a result, to put all our intention and focus into something. There's our ability to do the right things, to have the right strategy, to execute. And then there's some grace. There's what some people call luck, some people call grace. There's, if you do the right things over and over again and with total focus, sometimes, you know, you get good fortune that comes your way. And you tend to have more good fortune when you're totally focused and decisive and you take lots of action than if you kind of just sit around and accept things like that you don't have a future.
The promise of tomorrow is very unfulfilling because there's nothing guaranteed about it. Yesterday's gone. It's a canceled check. Tomorrow's a promissory note. The only thing that you can cash right now is now. Now is all you got. You don't have anything else but now. You see, the promise of today, it's very fulfilling because you've got it right now. It is in your hands. You can do something about now, right now. And never rely on tomorrow to bail you out because it can't and it won't. If you don't try to create the future you want, you must endure the future you get. That's why you need to make every day a masterpiece. That's why every moment matters. So today, you got it in your hand. Grab it, do it right now. If you do it now, you're preparing for tomorrow. If you don't do it now, tomorrow, you're going to try to repair yesterday. And you just can't do that well. You can do no more than 100%. So 120% tomorrow is an impossibility, but 100% today, that's possible. If you give 100% today, you won't have to make up something that is impossible tomorrow. But if you only give 80%, you don't get the next 20% tomorrow. You don't get an override. You just lose the 20%. You don't have to be 100% on all day, but you do have to be 100% on in the things that are important. If you have 10 things to do and you put them in order, number 1 is truly more important than number 2, in descending order down to number 10. If you just do the top 2 things, you'll get an 80% return of everything you need in life. So look at your list. You maybe have 7 things to do today, 7 definite things that you need to accomplish. Now, if you've got 7 definite things that you need to accomplish, they don't all hold equal weight. pick out your times. Don't have to be 100% all day, but you do have to be 100% at the things which are really, really important in your life. In other words, we're human. We get tired. We need to take breaks. We mentally get fatigued. You can't get up in the morning and go till night and be always on. You can't be 100%. What's required of you, what gives you the greatest return, and what gives you the greatest reward. Kind of want to line those up when what is required of you is also the thing that gives you the greatest return, which is also the thing that gives you the greatest reward. That's all about prioritizing. That's all about energy. That's all about excellence. When we change the way we look at things, the things that we look at change. How we view things determines how we do things. What you see is who you will be. And we see things not as they are, we see things as we are. So what is before you isn't what you see, who you are is what you see. Make every day your masterpiece. Every moment matters because the moment was made for you.
When running a race, only the people who get to the finish line counts. You may start as early as possible. If you do not get to the finish line, it doesn't matter what number you are. If you run with all your strength and give it your all, but you do not get to that finish line, then it doesn't matter. It is the finish line that helps to determine who first is, who is second, who gets other subsequent positions. That race is just like life. In life, the beginning of a journey could be tough. The beginning may be hard and all the odds may be against you. But you want to know what really matters? Is that you finish whatever it is you started. If you really want to know how far you've gone or the things that you've done, then you really should not give up. Never give up. Never give up. Fact is, success has never come easy for anyone. Go and check history and records. If you want something, you've got to work hard for it. When I say hard, I mean really hard. If you want to achieve it, then be ready to sacrifice all that is required. Even if you were born with the money, even if you were born with the privileges, you got to work hard and do your own thing too. You gotta rise every morning irrespective of the weather and grind and never give up. Yes, I know it can be tiring. Yes, I know it can be hard. Yes, I know it's sometimes all the willpower and strength to do it. But you owe it to yourself not to give up. You owe it to yourself to stay awake and do the job. You owe it to your future self who's going to live the consequences of the decision that you make today. Do you want your future self to blame you for today? Do you want to hate the time that you give up and made that decision to stop chasing your dreams, to stop going after your goals? Do you want to beat yourself up and hate a particular time in your life? I guess no. Then it's time to work really hard. It's time to keep going irrespective of what happens to you. Never ever say no. Never ever say I give up. Yes, you can say that you're tired. It's allowed. You can seek help. It's allowed. You can even rest. It's allowed. But giving up? That's not allowed. As a champion who has a future as a champion, who wants to be great, as a champion who's got things he wants to achieve, giving up should not be an option. Giving up shouldn't even be in your dictionary. Pressing on, yes. Forging ahead, yes. Try again and again and again and again if you have to, but never give up.
Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, what's using my life? One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life. And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place. That's where the work is. Anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal. Anybody can be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. See, but the real real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down. How you handle it, that's where the growth takes place. What has brought you to this point? What did you learn from it? Are you learning anything, or are you doing it over and over and over again? Are you going through it, or are you growing through it? Are you bigger and better because of it? Things are going to happen to you, and the most important thing to do is to harness your will and let it go. I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back, and I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. Yes, I'm going to turn this situation around. I'm not going to sit back and moan and cry over what happened and what went wrong and who did what. I'm going to do something about this situation. Expect things to get better for you, because they are. See, life is cyclic. Whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass.
You're still here, and you get another chance this day to do better and be better. Another chance to become more of who you were created and what you were created to fulfill.
Everyone in the world is capable of living outside the role or beyond the roles that they place themselves in, no matter what it is. You're not just a dad, you're not just a banker, you're not just a brother or a son or a convict. It doesn't matter. Like, everyone is bigger, much bigger, infinitely bigger than the roles they place themselves in, and is capable of reaching potential greater than anything they could imagine.
You can live the life you desire. It's right there in front of you. But in order to achieve it, you must first see it, then believe it, and then you must graciously ask and train your brain to help you execute your vision.
So when you start to focus and you delete distraction from your life, and you start to get seriously invested in doing one thing staggeringly well, and you practice that one thing over and over, a term to think about is mundanity. You do one simple, seemingly insignificant thing every day around your main skill, and it's very mundane, but small daily improvements over time lead to world-class results. Well, here's what happens in your brain. You start to isolate a single neurocircuit around that skill, and that starts to trigger a certain type of brain cell called an oligodendrocyte, which then releases myelin. Myelin is a fatty tissue that starts to wrap around that single neurocircuit related to that main skill you've been practicing. And when myelin starts to wrap around the brain circuit, what happens is you have accelerated learning times, you can see more quickly, heightened perception, and you'll learn more quickly. And that is really the quote-unquote secret of the great producers. It's not a result of some natural gift, but their daily practice, their relentlessness and their grit, their work ethic, and their singular focus and sacrifice. is built not by revolution. A great life is built by evolution. Small and steady wins the race. What you do every day is far more important than what you do once every decade. I want you to really think about that idea. What you do every day is simply your life in miniature. And as you live every single day, so you're crafting your life. What you do over the next hours is really building your future. And if you can just get every single pocket of 24 hours right as best as we humanly can, the rest of our life is going to take care of itself. So small wins matter.
The scripture says we will eat the fruit of our words. You are planting seeds when you talk. At some point, you're going to eat that fruit. My challenge is make sure you're planting the right kind of seeds. If you want apples, you have to sow apple seeds. If you want oranges, you can't plant cactus seeds, poison ivy seeds, mushroom seeds. You're going to reap fruit from the exact seeds that you've been sowing. In other words, you can't talk negative and expect to live a positive life. You can't talk defeat and expect to have victory. You can't talk lack, not enough, can't afford it, never get ahead, and expect to have abundance. If you have a poor mouth, you're going to have a poor life. If you don't like what you're seeing, start sowing some different seeds. We may not realize it, but we're always feeding ourselves. What we watch, listen to, the people we're around, the thoughts we're dwelling on, that's feeding our inner man. If you go to lunch with people that talk bad about the boss, make fun of a coworker, put down a friend, they're feeding you gossip, feeding you jealousy, feeding you disrespect. Here's the key. Whatever you feed is going to grow. You may not like what they're feeding you. You're a nice person, but if you continue to hang around them, before long, you'll be gossiping, you'll be critical, you'll be disrespectful. Why? Because you kept feeding the wrong things. If you're always feeding negative thoughts, thinking, I'll never get well, I'll never meet the right person, you're feeding doubt, feeding mediocrity, feeding fear.
If you know exactly what you want to be, you need to spend as much time with people that are actually that already. You cannot let a fear of failure, or a fear of comparison, or a fear of judgment stop you from doing what's going to make you great. You cannot succeed without this risk of failure. You cannot have a voice without the risk of criticism. And you cannot love without the risk of loss. You must go out and you must take these risks.
You don't have the time to waste time, because time doesn't wait till you discover your purpose. If you don't know why you was born, time is still moving. And if you discover your purpose at 90 years old, it's too late.
You don't know how young you are. What if you die in 2 years? You're pretty old right now. You got 2 years left. And if you're 50 years old and you're feeling discouraged, well, remember the advice about planting a tree. When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago or today? So if you're 50 and you feel like life left you behind, well, get started right now. Better late than never. Better late than never. Don't think about time and age so much. It gets people distracted. When the whole world's distracted, you be focused.
You have to trust your own voice, your own ideas, your honesty, your vulnerability, and through this you will find your way. You do not have to be fearless. Just don't let fear stop you. Live like this as best you can, and I guarantee you will look back on a life well lived. You are capable of greatness in your profession, and more importantly, in your quality of self. Stay hungry. Stay young at heart. Take those risks. You are going to change the world around you in big ways and in small.
But see, anybody, if you want to, can go searching for a good plan, pick it, and start working it. And sure enough, as the time passes, as it surely will 5 years from now, 10 years from now, then you'll be winding up wearing what you want to wear, driving what you want to drive, living where you want to live, become what you want to become. But now's the time to fix the next 10 years. And who can? Anybody.
You were created to give life and make a difference with your gift somewhere. That's why you came to this place.
You want to improve? You want to get better? You want to get on a workout program or a clean diet? You want to start a business? You want to write a book or make a movie or build a house or a computer or put together some mobile application? Where do you start? You start right here. And when do you start? You start right now. You initiate the action aggressively. You go.
Decide, commit, act, succeed, repeat.
If you want to be an impactful personality, you have to develop certain types of thinking and perceptions that change the way you see yourself and see the world.
No matter what you want to do in life, no matter what your ambition is, that your dreams can come true if you persevere, if you work hard, and if you realize that what you might think is impossible is possible in today's world.
Well, you have to keep yourself focused on whatever your ultimate goal is. There's stumbling blocks all the way. People get laid off, you have a bad game, you get traded from a team that you don't want to be with. But if your goal and your focus remains the same, that hey, this is going to happen, and I know I have the skills and I have the knowledge and I have the instincts to dig myself out of this hole, you will dig yourself out of the hole. You have to control the situation. Don't let the situation control you.
Your life is what you think it should be. That's exactly what you are right now. You are what you thought you should be. And if you don't like who you are, you got to change what you think you should be. What you think is more important than what you do. And so if you want to change, you got to work on this attitude bit.
When you take on a massive change, whether it's trying to diet after a lifetime of being overweight, or maybe running your first race after a lifetime of never ever exercising, or maybe it's starting to date again after you lost your spouse to cancer. When you confront something that's going to require you to change your behavior, you basically come face to face with the gap between who you are right now and the future person you want to be.
So you need to foster the belief in what you are dreaming so that it becomes a reality, which is very different than saying, I don't expect anybody to believe it until I see it. You need people to believe it before they can see it.
Here is how you can assure yourself to enjoy yourself during the process of whatever it is you're trying to achieve. I want you to get this, because it starts as soon as you open up your eyes in the morning or whenever it is that you start the day. As soon as you open up your eyes to greet the day, you enter into consciousness. It is at that moment that your creativity is at its most powerful. Right there and then, you have an opportunity to steer your thoughts and your emotions in the direction that you want them to go, not in the direction that they're telling you to go. In other words, you can literally choose to seize the day, or you can let the day seize you.
Nothing works the first time. When you try something new, it probably won't work.
Every failed experiment is one step closer to success. You've got to take risks. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
Every time you lose at something, you're one step closer to winning the next time. The difference between successful people and not successful people, let's call it that way, are people give up. People wake up every morning, they have doubt, they have fear. They lose in a Ferrari race or they lose in a race, and then they just give up. The hardest thing in life to learn is to lose. Winning's easy. You win, you're happy, you get a high five, your friends are happy. It's your ability to take a loss, get up the next day, dust yourself off, and keep going.
This isn't about playing basketball like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade. There's guys in the NBA that never gonna play basketball like them. This is about being able to think like a champion, know what goes on in their heads, understand how you can relate it to your business and whatever you do to take yourself to the next level. Remember, the mind controls the body does not control the mind. What makes these guys special and successful in everything they do is not their physical gifts, it's their mental toughness. They have the ability not to think when everyone else is thinking.
So what I want you to do, as soon as you open up your eyes to start the day, is to immediately start focusing on something or someone that you are totally grateful for in your life. I don't care what it is or who it is, but I want you to feel it with your heart and soul. Your only goal as soon as you open up your eyes should be to make yourself feel good and to give yourself enough confidence to get through the day. Don't worry about what needs to be done. Think about who you have to be in order to get it done.
I believe the emotions that many of us consider negative, like frustration and rejection and pain, can be our greatest friends because they can drive us to success. You know what? I think one of the things that happens for a lot of people when they get successful is they get superstitious. It's like they work so hard for the success and they now finally have it, so all of a sudden they don't change, they don't vary their behavior, they kind of like want to stay the way things are. They get incredibly conservative and they miss out on the juice of life. Stay out of the trap. Listen, when people succeed, they tend to party. When they fail, they tend to ponder. Now, the pondering, many times we create our greatest successes in life. Just remember, it's impossible to fail. If you try something and it doesn't work, just try something else and learn something from what you just did. As long as you learn something, you've succeeded. Start with something small if you want, and then build. But right now, write down 2 decisions you've made, and then take action on them immediately. I mean, right now. I mean, even before I finish talking here, stop the tape, pick up the phone, and make that call you've been waiting for. Do not put it off another minute. I don't care what it takes. There's power in momentum. I'm a big believer that once you set a goal, once you make a decision, you should immediately, in that moment, do something to start making progress towards it. That way you can't cop out later on or get caught up or lose your momentum. So please do it now. And I know not all things can be done right now, so maybe it's something you have to do tomorrow morning. But whatever you're going to do, make the decision and then commit to follow through and then check in tomorrow. Because this is the first step to grabbing your personal power.
Remember this. So you got to get out there. You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures.
If you're new to the Impact Secret Podcast show, welcome to the family. To my existing family, big up. As always, thank you for joining. On this podcast show, we shift the mindset through inspiration, motivation, and with a standing foundation of self-discipline. I am your respectful host, ED. And for all you smart and intelligent folks out there, listen, that just simply means Ed. Now, living means doing what you love to do, even if you fall and have to get back up. You know the motto, the slogan here that we live by: bet on yourself. You won't win unless you get in the game and play. A quote that we're still rocking with here at the Impact Secret Podcast show: you never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. Bob Marley. One question and two thought-provoking statements. First question, who can fix your current situation? Again, who can fix your current situation? First thought-provoking statement, making your life a masterpiece. John Maxwell. And the first one was, of course, Jim Rohn. The last and final one, thought-provoking statement, going all in. Going all in. That's what I just did today, family. Wait a minute, I have a bonus for you as well as another thought-provoking statement. The 1% chance, the 1% chance. Today's episode is entitled, When the Future is Clear, the Price Don't Matter. Again, when the future is clear, the price don't matter. Basically, paying the price. Family, I told you this was going to be a packed show today. I told you that I was going to bring you some heat. I felt that I owed that to you for the 3 episodes that I missed, but timing is everything. And the way we're going to go on this timing this week is going to be amazing. This is going to be a huge milestone for the Impact Secret Podcast show because we are, like I told you, we are really changing some things around. Our goal is always wanting to bring a better product to you, so you make sure that you're always engaged. If you're not following me on Instagram, follow me on Impact Secret Podcast. Again, Impact Secret Podcast. We're going to be cleaning that up as well to continue to bring that content. I drop stories after the show is produced as far as to let you know kind of a high-level recap of what we're going to talk about here. But these next 2 days, I really want to just give everything to the show on these next 2 days. And I'm going to sit back and listen to the outcome. I'm going to sit back and see if I get any feedback. So DM me if you really enjoyed the show. DM me, what's the word we can use? You killed it. That's what I'm looking for, is basically DM me, you killed it. Or no, we'll stick with you killed it. Well, family, I'm excited. Took a couple days, 3 days off, and just to re-energize myself and to really figure out how can we make this better? What do I need to do to make this show better? Because I want to be better as a person, and that's why we're going to look at these that question that Jim Rohn asked. And it was so amazing when he asked the question. He said, who can fix your current situation? And basically anybody, basically you. And then when John Maxwell talked about the masterpiece of life, you know, that to me, when I heard that, I was like, ooh, the family gonna love that. But finally is the going all in. So let me tell you how this came about. I was listening to one of my favorite podcasts, if you haven't checked it out, called David Never Sleeps. Basically, sleep is for suckers. Really good podcast. And he had this gentleman on, and he would ask the question, why did they call him Mr. Go All In? And he talked about how he made a decision to really bet on himself. And I don't want to give the story away, but I'll give you a synopsis of it. And what he said is that he really took an investment financially, time-wise, and basically he said he cut the net. If you've ever watched people that have walked on tight ropes or any type of, I'll say more gymnastic or circus wise, between those two, between gymnastics and circus, there's no net in place when the thing is actually live. But during practice, of course, there's a net in place. But he was talking about how he had to cut the net. And sometimes, family, we have to cut the net. And cutting the net in this situation means, for me, I was like, okay, I need to pour in more into the show, not just financially, but also I need to give more content. So I'm testing it out. I'm going to see on these 2 shows what type, and even though I can't even read my numbers, like if people are rocking with the show. So I'm hoping that you guys DM me on Instagram and say, hey, you killed it. We want more of that. Or, let me know, give me a rating or something. Let me know that this is what the type of show you want. If that's the case, then going from our normal 30 to 40 minutes, I think is the longest shows I've ever done. Now going to an hour and more. Let me know if that's what you want. If not, cool. I'll readjust and keep adjusting. And that's the whole purpose of when you're going on this journey that I like, because really, I heard it put so well. I thought maybe I'll share this with you, family. It's really, you're bridging the gap. So you're bridging the gap of where you're currently at to where you want to go. When you look at a bridge, the bridge is more or less of saying, this is where I'm at and I need to cross that bridge to get over to the other side. So it's like, I don't know about you, family, but when I look at that person I want to be, like when I look at that person that I know I can be, it's like the life's distractions is the bridge. Cause it's like, okay, you start taking a step forward and then life hits you and then you take a step back. Then you go at it again, now you're going to take 2 to 3 steps forward, and then this distraction comes up. So then you take a step or 2 back. And it's just an ongoing process until finally you say, you know what, enough's enough already. I need to make sure that I'm going to keep stepping regardless of what distraction or what comes my way. And when you get into that mindset, it's really about taking action. One of the things here is when I started the whole motivation and inspiration aspect of things, I realized that there was a true lack of people talking about the discipline of things, because you can get so excited and motivated after you listen to this show. But if you don't take action, that's why I love what Tony said. Pause the tape, take action. If there's something you said you wanted to do that you keep putting off and you keep procrastinating, why not take action? Start today. Hey, if you're listening to this, as bad as I don't want you to press pause, but I'm about your growth instead of constantly just pushing things on you. Press pause right now. Go and do the thing that you've been putting off, and take action today, family, because again, you're not promised tomorrow, or you're not promised to have that same mindset of, something you wanted to achieve. When I wanted to share a story about, I've been really getting excited about the reselling of sneakers. I've been a big sneakerhead for a while. And it's funny nowadays. I was talking to my nephew about this. I said, it's funny, the things that I grew up on enjoying as far as video games and sneakers and things like that. These things now are really big, huge businesses. And a lot of times, family, we get away from our kid-like adventure when we become an adult, and we forget that those kid type moments for us could really be our calling or an opportunity to start somewhere. So when you're looking to figure out what you want to do in life, go back to when you were a kid. What did you enjoy doing when you were a child? Or what are some things you may be into? Collecting magazines, as far as, comics. And you're like, why did I stop doing that? Well, life hit you. That's why you stopped doing it. So once you pick that thing back up and take a risk and bet on yourself, the motto of the show, bet on yourself. You won't win unless you get in the game. Somebody was like, oh, that's a cute slogan. But no, this is a life slogan for me. This is a lifestyle. Because if you're unwilling to bet on yourself, to try, things out and test things out, I shouldn't say try, but to do things and see the results of it, and it may not be something that you was expecting. It may be below your standards of what you were expecting, yet you took a chance. I know you guys hate when I go on my course rant, but what I realize, again, the reason why people don't finish courses or do not implement what is done is because of the expectation. A lot of times people have the expectation that the particular item is that the information that they're receiving is going to make them millionaires overnight, or it's going to give them the shortcut so they don't have to go through a lot of the failures that the person that is providing the course to them. And that is far from the truth. And that's why it's important, family, is that when you are making a decision in what to invest in, stop looking at it as a cost and start looking at it as an investment, because a cost is something is so transactional. Like, it costs me money for me to put gas in my car. But if I flip that around and say, well, the investment of putting gas in my car allows me to go to point A or point B or wherever I need to do if it's handling business. So you have to start looking at the things you're doing in life as more of an investment instead of a cost, if it makes sense. Again, that's only if it makes sense. That's why when you listen to what Tony Robbins was talking about, the decisions equal your destiny. That is so true. When I decided to start the sneaker game, get back into the actually, reselling sneakers, I was just like, why have I waited so long? Because I was a reseller starting in 2017, and I picked all types of different things. And that's why the company is named House of Many Things, because there were so many things that I was trying to resell, but I got started. A lot of times, family, we don't get started because of the fear of we're not where the people that are inspiring us to get started. And see, if I didn't have that going through what I went through as far as reselling, and I probably wouldn't got started in the sneaker game, because I'm like, it's saturated. There are a lot of people out there that's selling sneakers, and I don't know the game like that. But I was like, how did I start getting started in reselling in the first place? See, a lot of times when you unpack your life, family, some of the things that you've done that a lot of people haven't done, that you kind of minimize them. And what I mean by minimize it is that a lot of people would say, man, I would really love, let's say for instance, to go to college, and you went and got a degree, and you minimize it because you was like, well, not that it was easy and it wasn't hard. It was just the fact that now that you've completed it, you forgot the pain that you went through to get it. I can't speak for everybody. I know for me, the pain of having to go back and go get another degree, and then go back and get another degree. And the pain was having to write papers and be in class and be online at certain seminars. It was painful, because it was like all the things that I wanted to do. And then on top of that, I was like, am I going to get a really true return on investment on this degree? Because it doesn't promise you anything. I was just reading an article and on Apple News about the Columbia degree, and how some of these students were coming out and they weren't getting the type of jobs, 6-figure jobs that they thought they may have been getting. But that's a whole nother conversation. We'll create a show on that one day. As I've been telling you guys too, the Conscious Business channel was coming, as well as I'm going to have a reselling channel. But all of these things that I want to do, I've been talking about it. And I said, you know what? Today is the day. Today is the day. First thing we're going to do is that I'm excited about. We're doing this hour-long show. I haven't done an hour-long show. Can't wait till I start putting visuals to the show so I can get you guys more engaged to see, who I am, and creating more exclusive content. Because I really truly feel for this show to go to the next level, I have to do what the 1% is doing. And see, a lot of times you can get caught up in that whole 1%. And people say, well, yeah, I want to be the 1%. And I said, that's why I like the way one of the audio clips put it, is saying, well, if you want to be the 1%, you got to start doing what the 99% are unwilling or want or not willing to do. And a lot of that, family, you know how challenging it is to start documenting your day as far as some of the things you said you wanted to do, and then go out and execute it day in and day out. You know, and I've been experimenting with different things of finding ways so I can stay consistent with documenting my day, so I can see how I performed at the end of the week. So this week I'm documenting my day again. Like I've been doing this for a couple months now, and the consistency has been the challenge, because it's like all I have to do is, I know if I do these things, they will improve my life. And it's funny, family, when we look at the things we know we should be doing, and the things we should be doing, and the things we think about doing, when we look at those three pieces, we put more emphasis, if we just going to keep it a buck, if we're going to be honest about the things we think we should be doing, we put more energy in that instead of the things we know and should be doing. Like, I know that if I want to lose weight, I have to, or lose fat or weight, however however the health people are putting it nowadays, is that I have to change the diet that I eat. I have to, do certain things because I've done it and it worked. So I know what is required is just about, okay, am I going to make this a should and a must that I go ahead and execute on it? How many times, family, have we said we're going to do something and we don't even get started? We may even plan the whole thing out. We may have, okay, this is what I'm going to do this day. I'm going to do this day. This first time in my life that I shouldn't say in my life, but first time that I woke up without an alarm clock. And it was amazing because I was like, normally when I wake up is because, I just wake up out the blue, or, when you drink a lot of water throughout the night, you'll find yourself, going to the bathroom. But it wasn't none of those things. It was just, I literally woke up and I was like, okay, I get it. And I just went to work. I started, doing things, and that's why I was able to find the content. And I said, doggone it. I said, you know what's so funny is that the more the time that I've had to be able to put today's show together, the investment that I was able to really to dive into, I have to try this again. I have to see if there's an opportunity there, and if the family loved it, and if they don't love it, then I'll go back to making, quick content and 30 minutes or less. But I've been wanting to do one of these long type of shows, but I felt that I didn't have the time. And I said, well, would anyone want to listen to all these various audio clips, some of the audio clips that I really enjoy, that I listen to? Would they really want to listen to that? So we're going to find out, family. It's about taking a risk. And, one of the things I'm going back to listen to in the 50th Law, there's a chapter about boredom. And I'm going back to revisit that chapter because that's what tends to happen of why we don't achieve our goal. We get bored. I mean, we get excited, super excited when we start. And that's why I'm nervous about this whole sneaker reselling thing. I'm like, I hope this is just not a excitement of a dopamine rush, that this is something I'm truly into, because it's going to take some time away from something else that I could be working on. And so we'll test it out and see. And the goal, like I told you before, is I'm going to do something that really makes me nervous, and I'm going to record the whole entire process of everything that I'm doing, because I want to be able to inspire somebody else to say, you know what, I want to try that too. I don't care if people are saying it's saturated or there's a lot of resellers and things like. Don't allow that to get in your way of what you can achieve out of life, family. When Tai Lopez had talked about time and age is a distraction, I said, wow, that is so true. I mean, because just think about how many times have you really invested and said, invested and said, this is going to take a lot of time and I don't know if I'm going to be ready to do this. When I was listening to Eric Thomas, he said, when he started, it was like 1 year, then 2 years. And he said 3 years, I got a little traction, and then 4 or 5, it just blew up. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I'm 1 year in and, I haven't really got as much traction as I want to. I said, but I've gotten a more than what I've gotten before. And I said, I'm excited because I didn't even have plans of even doing this. It was just something like I've shared the story many of times of going through the 30-day challenge on Russell Brunson's 30-day challenge. And we were tasked with basically producing something every day. And I didn't understand what is this whole everyday thing, but now I get it. And so now everything is starting to click, family, and it's taken this long for everything to really start clicking. That's why when Tim Grover just talks about you need to decide, act, commit, and then repeat all over again, that's where we're at now. I made a decision. I said, okay, we're going to do a 1 hour or more show on Monday and Tuesday and see what type of traction we get. Even if it's a great response, then maybe I'll do these, once or twice a month or more and then, still keep it short for those people that want that short time frame. I don't know, family, how you guys are feeling today about how you're starting your day starting your day this week, but I do want to inspire you to start taking risk. Calculated risk, of course, but start taking the risk of betting on yourself. If there's something you're interested in, there's a class, there's something out there to teach you how to do it. But then, even though you're learning how to do it, you still have to go out and implement, because during the implementation phases, you're going to learn more than anything else. And what the important key, which is my new thing, is documenting the process, because you're going to be able to look back. Because I was looking back when I read Matthew Dick's book and one of the gems I got out of there was he was talking about, I forgot it was homework. He called it homework. Yeah, it's just slipping my mind. My apologies. Called it homework. And every day he would do like a 1-line or 2-line story of kind of what has he, experienced that day. And so for me, that's what I was testing out. And I was looking, I was like, okay, I was doing, I was accurate here. And then 2 to 3 weeks, it was a gap. Then boom, 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 I was at it again. And I was like, what is this 2 to 3 week gap that I'm facing? And so that's why I go back to measuring, family. See, I wouldn't even known that if I didn't have some measurements in place of seeing how I'm actually performing, because this requires daily practice. This is crazy. There are people in seasons 2, 3, and 4 that I'm starting to walk down, literally. And I'm like, and when I seen that, it made me nervous, because I was like, wait a minute. You're at episode 230 or 240? And how long you've been doing this for 3 years? And I'm thinking, wow, I've only done this for a year. I said, I got to get back to the commitment. And it's challenging when you want to do it every day, family, because life, you go on vacations, or you're human and you just like, oh man, I just need to sleep a little extra hour, and that hour cost you the time that you could be invested in there. So these are things I always told you, family. I'm in the car with you. All I'm doing is giving you my war report of what I'm experiencing, because what you're supposed to be able to do is, when you have an opportunity to go through something, you're supposed to share that with people so it can help them on their journey and find a way to. It's not about the shortcuts. It's about avoiding some of the mistakes that person has, done. And one of the things for me is I realize the importance of doing this every day, because I'm going to be able to catch up and surpass people that have been doing this years in and years out. That's the only way I can. That's my competitive advantage. If you ask me, well, hey, what's your competitive advantage? Well, I got to do this every day, 5 days a week. I'm feeling like I'm the Oprah show, meaning Oprah show came on 5 days a week. It didn't come on once a week. And that is like I said, that is the challenge. When you take that challenge on, is some days you're so excited about delivering this. And then there's some days you're like, what can I find to really arrest the family's attention? What are they going through? What are they excited about? And so it's just finding good topics to actually discuss. I love that small and steady wins the race, because it's a true example of what I'm experiencing right now. I started off really small, started off on Anchor app, and I went back and listened to some of those episodes, and I was like, wow, those episodes was like 5 to 10 minutes at tops. I don't even know if I had a longer episode than that, maybe, but it lets me know, don't forget about small beginnings. And that time that I took off, family, it gave me a chance to reflect. It gave me, it motivated me to say, you have to keep going. There's something here, and you only need to be right one time. And once you do that, it's definitely over. So I'll close with a couple things, family, and I hope, again, family, I'm doing this for you. Matter of fact, I'm doing this for us, that to prove that you have to experiment with whatever you're doing. And this is a true example of taking experiment, and I don't know how it's going to go, but if I don't move forward, or as my mom would say, a closed mouth don't get fed. So we're going to see what happens, but understand the principle of being able to bridge that gap, meaning where you currently are at and to where you want to go. And in the middle is the bridge, and that bridge is excuses, that bridge is distraction, that bridge is basically life. And you have to be willing to get up every day and start walking across that bridge until you meet that person that you're destined to be. I'll close with that, family, and I truly do hope that whatever you're going after is also going after you, but you may realize in your journey that you may be pivoted, and that's okay, but at least you're getting started. Until next time, family, again, I hope you enjoyed today's show. I hope it changed someone's life or had some type of inspiration or impact. Now let's put the disciplines and habits in place so you can go after what you really want in life. Peace.